Well, apparently Nigeria's main opposition political party, the People's Democratic Party, is going through a lot at the moment, or as can be countered by popular parlance, a lot is going through the party. But on a serious note, the weight of PDP struggles to reposition for forthcoming electoral battles beginning from the 2027 general election may not be going according to plan. Such concerns could have been the driving factor behind last week's extraordinary meeting of governors elected on the party's platform in Ibadan, the Oyo state capital. Now, to help us get a proper understanding of what transpired there and what's being done to bring back peace to PDP's fold, we are now being joined here in the studio by Dr. Adetokunbo Pearse, a chieftain of the People's Democratic Party and a member of the Board of Governors of the People's Democratic Institute, the party's think tank. It's great to have you join us on the show. Thank you so much for being here.
Good morning.
Thank you so much. Walk us through that. I would like to start with the extraordinary meeting. I think it came at a very pivotal time, where for a lot of people, first thing, there is a lack of trust in the PDP's capacity to produce a candidate for 2027 as a result of the internal squabbles and the sheer lack of disrespect for the party's policies. And clearly, there seems to be a lot of giants within the party that seem too big to be controlled. So what would you say this extraordinary meeting was set up for, and what resolutions came out of the meeting?
The meeting came about, I think, basically because there had been a lot of talk about determining the position of national chairman.
Yes.
And the issue of the national secretary. Secretary General. Let me say this very clearly. It is a terrible misconception that the PDP is having problems fielding a candidate. What kind of nonsense is that? Is it now that you begin to field a candidate? That issue doesn't come up. You see, we have a lot of people in the party who are disgruntled. So they come up with all sorts of things, and they have access to the media, so they go and talk all sorts of rubbish and confuse people. You don't have the issue of, there's no problem about coming up with a candidate until you go to your national convention and you are going to have an election. And a candidate, somebody will come up. Whoever emerges as the candidate of the party in that convention will become the candidate. So this issue about no candidate or no candidate now is not needed. It's out of place. But what happened in Ibadan was a lot of people have been putting pressure on the party that Damagun, the acting national chairman, must go. And the issue of the national secretary, which everybody thought had been settled because the court said party is in charge of that issue. Whatever the party says is what goes. Party has decided that Okoye is our national secretary. But of course, Ayamu is not happy with the decision of the court. You know, just like the last segment you had, people will challenge court decisions.
Ayamu actually thought that the judgment favored him?
Well, you know, that's what I've said, that all sorts of things will go, but come on. I mean, the court said party decides.
Yeah.
And the party decided that we don't want you. All the organs of the party, Board of Trustees, National Working Committee, Governors Forum. Then the NEC, National Executive Council, which you comprise of all the former presidents, former governors, former this, all of them, will come together. But individually, they have all spoken. So what happened in Ibadan was the governors now spoke and said a couple of things. One, that the issue of forming a merger, we don't need to form a merger. acting national chairman put it, I think, very appropriately, said, PDP is a brand name. We don't need to change our name, and we don't need to merge with anybody. And I've said it, in fact, I said it on this program more than a year ago.
That's right.
And the reasons are clear. I wasn't surprised when the governor said the same thing I've been saying for months now. The PDP has a national spread. The only reason why APC came to be as a merger was because ACN, coming from the Southwest, basically, had about 3 million votes. It didn't have national spread. CPC, Buhari has been carrying 10, 12 million votes for a long time, but couldn't get anything in the South. So the two of them had to come together to form a group, a merger, so that they can speak nationally. That's why they came to be. PDP already has a national spread. We are in every nook and corner of Nigeria, every ward, every street for years. So we don't need that. Now, the party said, the governor said, we don't need, because people have been putting pressure. My own friends are calling me traitor now. People are calling me, they're sending me messages. You said, Tokes, why don't you want this merger? I think you're already working for Tinubu now. Can you imagine? Now I find out the reason they're saying that.
Are you working for the president?
I am working for the PDP, obviously. I know the president very well, and it's a man of ill repute. I can never work for him. He doesn't deserve it. Nigeria doesn't deserve a terrible president like this, and God forbid that I should be found with a man like that. Now, you see, the reason why they're asking me, and I find out, is that they are members of the Labour Party. They want me to come to the Labour Party to join them, as they want PDP to come into the Labour. Say, look, if you want to work for me and the Labour Party, please go ahead. Let me do what I can for the PDP. When we go to election, we shall see who Nigerians want. That's all.
Atiku doesn't think that PDP can face APC as it is as right now. I mean, we can call it selfish.
I know. That's what Atiku thinks. Atiku has been wrong many times before. And he's wrong again.
But you were part of the presidential committee of 2023, and Atiku was your candidate.
Yes. Let me tell you something. And at the appropriate time, if it comes to it, I will reveal as much as I should. For now, let me just say that Atiku was in PDP in 2015. He left PDP in 2015, came back in 2017. He was welcome. I was one of the people that worked with him to get a nomination, to get a ticket for 2019. But he ran that election, he lost. His attitude to the party is part of the reason why he's having problems now. I supported him mainly, primarily because he promised to restructure Nigeria. And I believe, even now, if Makinde wants to run for president, the first thing I told him is, if you are interested in restructuring Nigeria, let me understand that you know what we're talking about. Nigeria will never settle unless we reorganize the way the system works. It's too centralized. It's a military system we're running. We have to run a truly democratic system, whereby each region, just like in the US, each state has control over so many things. You don't overload the center. President is just too powerful. Everything is from Abuja. So once you agree to do that, that's the reason I supported Atiku. Now, Atiku has, he ran in 2023. He lost in 2023. If he wants to run again in 2027, he should come and say so within the party. I suspect that his feeling is that he cannot get the ticket in 2027. There's a lot of opposition to him now in the party. People are saying enough is enough.
Yes.
That's what they're saying. Therefore, he going to form a merger is looking for another platform. I cannot be part of that. I said to him, stay in the party. Don't be running from here. You ran from PDP, you ran to ACN, you ran from ACN, you came back to PDP. You want to run away from PDP again? Don't do that. Don't do that.
But Dr. Pearse, still on the Ibadan declaration, what people are also saying is that while that declaration might look like a ploy not to give ticket to Atiku, but that it might, that the PDP governors might unwittingly be playing into the hands of the president, who does not want merger of opposition, who does not want coalition of opposition. And therefore, if PDP governors say, we'll run it all alone, just with 11 or 13 governors, it simply means that the field will be balkanized, and a repeat of what happened in 2023 is what we will get. And that will be a smooth sail for him. And if you add that to the fact that people like Governor Umueno of Akwa Ibom is saying, he's not just saying I will support him, he says the president deserves a second term. Wike says that PDP is not ready and therefore he will still work for Asiwaju. Ayo Fayose, former governor of Ekiti, says clearly that it has to be a southerner, and because he worked for Tinubu in 2023, most likely that's where he will pitch his tent again. It looks to me like...
The Ibadan declaration had nothing to do with trying to exclude Atiku. Nothing.
That's the interpretation that people are giving it.
Yeah, well, it's wrong interpretation. I'm giving you my own interpretation and what I think is really going on.
All right.
It has nothing to do. Atiku is not an issue in the party now. Trust me.
You think so?
Look, I know so.
He has always been the factor.
I know so. Look. Politics is very dynamic. One day is like a lifetime.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, if you read the political climate within the PDP, that's why you see his people shouting everywhere, complaining everywhere. When you see people panicking like that, you know they have a problem. You know they just don't have any grounds. That is what's going on. That time is over. It's not about Atiku. It's about the soul of the party. In other words, people who want us to have a substantive national chairman and to clarify the issue of the national secretary. That's why the governor said we're going to move our convention to August instead of October. Reason being that as soon as we can, let's resolve this issue of the national chairman. You know, we've had acting national chairman for almost 2 years now.
That's right.
Because IU left the position. So we want to resolve that so that everybody will settle down and get ready for 2027. The issue of the national secretary is also very important. Anyanwu was at the conference at Ibadan to meet the governors. They just ignored him.
He was there?
He was there. Didn't you see the video? They just ignored him as if he doesn't exist. Everybody has said we've divorced. There's a divorce. No matter how much you claim to be the husband of your wife, she says she's gone. You know, you cannot force love, right? So, but at the National Convention is when, by our Constitution, you can formally remove or replace the National Secretary. That is why that meeting is important. Informally, morally, he's already been removed because nobody wants to see him. But when we have this convention, everybody will settle down. The acting national chairman, people have said that Amago must go for over a year now. And I keep telling them, look, the Amago is not there because he wants to be there. We needed somebody to immediately take that position once you left so that there'd be no vacuum. Now, because of all sorts of things coming up, you know, we couldn't really go for a convention and choose a substantive national chairman. Now in August, we're going to do that. So that's why Ibadan was important. That's what it was all about.
All right.
Okay, now let's take it a bit further. Still looking, because I think for a lot of people, the present issues now are compared to the issues of 2027. I would say that is heavy on a lot of people's hearts with regards to PDP. And in terms of mistakes being learned, some would even say that it's been a turbulent time all the way back, if you take it all the way back to say 2015, as a matter of fact. Now, looking at the mistakes from 2023, issues between IU, the G5 governors, some people would even say arguably that even cost PDP the elections. Problems like zoning, things that you would say, this is what we could learn from this. Would you say PDP is learning from some of these mistakes to make sure they are not repeated, especially with its structure? Now, we had Chief Bode George a couple of weeks ago on Arise, and he kept emphasizing on the fact that Wike has betrayed PDP, basically, to say that he has just, on paper, he is still a PDP member, but with his actions, he's practically betrayed the party. So what are some of the mistakes that you would say can be learned and corrected in anticipation for 2027? By
the way, at this convention in August,
yes,
Wike is also an issue. He will be
an issue.
He will be. Your thoughts on
just as I said that the national chairman will be consolidated into a substantive national chairman.
Okay.
And the national secretary issue will also be resolved. Wike issue will also be resolved. I guarantee
what does that mean?
He will be expelled at that particular Congress.
You think so?
Expelled or suspended because his actions, just like Anyanwu, is no longer a member of the party. He may claim to be a member of the party. Look at this man saying, Makinde is his friend. How can Makinde be your friend? When you are working for Tinubu for president, you declared, and Makinde wants to be president. So, how can he be your friend? The man is just a saboteur. That's wicked. In the court of public opinion of the People's Democratic Party, Wike is no longer a member of our party. I guarantee you that.
He says he has the capacity to send fire to states that appear to disturb him. And we know what he has done in Rivers State.
Look. What has he done in Rivers State?
What has he done in Rivers State?
What has he not done?
What has he done in Rivers State?
What has he done?
He himself confessed that what he wanted was for Fubara to go, for him to take over Rivers State. He's not in charge of Rivers State. He has no power in Rivers State anymore. He used to go to Rivers State every weekend to cause confusion, to have meetings. Can he go there now? He has lost. That man doesn't understand that prudence is a better part of valor. A man who declares in public space that he drinks whiskey for breakfast. I pity young people growing up in Nigeria today. So look at these are no role models. These are criminals leading us today in this our country. Let's face it. Now, at that convention, that issue also will be resolved. So a lot of things, reason why we need to have that convention.
Okay.
Something else you said, I missed that.
I mentioned about zoning. I mentioned about...
Now, what we learned.
What you learned from that.
What happened in 2023 was this. Makinde is my friend. But I've known Atiku long before I met Makinde. And Atiku's commitment to restructuring gave me confidence that this is the man we should support. I didn't have a vote, but I predicted that he would win the nomination, and he got it. You see, he got the nomination because he had an opportunity to contest. What the party did, the mistakes they made. They talked about zoning. They formed a 30-member committee to look at zoning. They said there was no zoning. They came up and said no zoning. It was not conclusive, but it appeared there's no zoning. But the reason I now knew that there was no zoning and we could support Atiku if we want is that Atiku went to pay for the forms. They sold the form to him. So that means he could contest. First mistake. Now, if you want to zone, you zone. And you say that anybody from this zone cannot purchase the form. Therefore, they cannot contest. But if you sell form to everybody, that means everybody can contest. So now we know. We can make that mistake again. Secondly, the case of the national chairman.
Yes.
It is in the Constitution that if a national chairman, because we're going to have the election of the national chairman before we have the presidential.
Okay.
So a national chairman would have emerged if that national chairman is from the north. The presidential candidate can also not be from the north. If a presidential candidate from the north wins the nomination, as Atiku did, are you, according to the Constitution, was supposed to step down?
Yeah.
Are you said it on video, on record, that he would step down? You remember? I don't know if you remember.
Yes.
But he didn't. So now what we are going to do, well, what I advise that we should do is have this on record, recorded, signed, make it a legal document that once the presidential candidate is from the same zone as the national chairman, you must step down. Have it written. And also, this whole question of zoning must be very clear. If you are zoning, you are zoning. You cannot say you are zoning and then sell form to everybody. So once we get that right, we will not have a repeat of the confusion and the conflict we had in 2023. Wike had a point. But as I think it's Achebe who says, some people spoil a good case with a bad lie. He had a case that it should have been zoned to the south, but there was no zoning. So how can you blame Atiku? So when they formed the G5, I said, for me, this man has won the ticket of the party. I'm going to work for him. That's what I did.
All right, Dr. Pearse, two quick questions before we let you go. First will be on the thought that you expressed on Seyi Makinde, the governor of Oyo State, who it looks like he might be interested in, putting his heart in the ring.
He is interested.
My question to you, sir, is that do you trust him? A lot of people think that he had a deal with the APC and with the president in 2023 for him to get a second term, while all the other, while the presidential votes go to the president, and then a good number of the other positions, Senate, House of Reps, etc., go to the PDP. Secondly, sir, so that you can take the two together, is to come back to your home base, Lagos. What is the state of the PDP in Lagos now? You have lost Jando to the APC.
Yeah, what are you telling me?
But you gained Doherty. Are you, is that like,
We're reading, look, okay, let me take the first one. Let me take the first one. You know how politics works. A lot of people, you got to give Bola Ahmed Tinubu credit for something. He's a master of manipulation of the media. He knows how to spread such. People are telling me.
That's the only thing you're giving him credit
for. Only thing. I know, and he knows how to win election because he has said by hook or crook. He will grab it if necessary and run with it. So you win the election by hook or crook. To govern is another issue. Zero. You can't do it. He's the kind of person, run election, get out. That's what he should do. Now, anyway, you see, politics is so dynamic, When Makinde had the deal in Oyo for governorship, it was survival. It was the deal. That deal is gone now. Now, he wants to run. Look, I talked to him about it, actually. Let me tell you the truth.
Yeah.
I met with him in November, and I said to him, I said, Governor, people are saying you are a front. They don't trust you. They say you are fronted. He told me, he said, but I'm not even 60 years old. Am I supposed to round up my career like this? He said, I'm ambitious too. That's why I'm working so hard in your state so that people will see that I qualify. Tinubu has had his term and he has failed the nation. He has exposed himself. He has embarrassed the Yoruba nation. We want to get rid of him. We want another Yoruba man to come and save this country, and I can do it. I said, are you also interested in restructuring? He said, you and I, me and him have been talking about it. I'm sending papers on restructuring. He said, look, even if I have one term, I will do it. Good. So this is why I trust him.
Okay.
And I also told him, I said, they're saying you are too close to Wike.
Yes.
He said, no, not anymore. He said, you know, they have a business relationship and they've been working together for a long time. It's not easy to, I said, you have to divorce yourself from this man, otherwise nobody's going to trust you. He said he's going to do everything he can.
Okay.
Notice something. Wike and Makinde are not on the same page anymore. If you don't know that, look at what happened with the National Secretary.
All right.
The National Secretary makes it clear. Wike wanted Anyanwu to remain as National Secretary and continue to do his bidding. Makinde wants Okoye to be the National Secretary, get rid of Anyanwu. So they are not together politically anymore.
All right, so very quickly on Lagos.
Wike wanted to destroy Fubara. Makinde joined the other governors to support Fubara. So they are not placed.
I get your point.
So when people say things like this, it doesn't make sense.
All right.
It doesn't make sense, but it's good PR.
So very quickly, sir. You were saying something about Jando and Duarte.
By the way, Wike saying that whatever it doesn't want, is trying to help us in PDP so that we don't collapse. This is a man who has declared war against us. He's crying louder than the bereaved. And as for Fayose, he has said it since 2021 that he's supporting Tinubu. So these are not members of our party. These are not supporting our candidate. So forget about them, whatever they say. Now, you see, Lagos, strangely enough, I am the convener of National Support Group for Makinde for President. So we are just putting this together. You know, we can't declare yet.
Yeah.
But he has made it clear
recently
that he's interested.
Yeah.
When the time comes, he will make it formal. Okay. Now, I can tell you that the way I am putting people together in Lagos for President Makinde's candidacy is bringing unity to Lagos PDP like never before. Virtually everybody.
Yeah, but you just lost Jando.
Jando came and scored 5%. And at the head of the ticket, he led Atiku, who got 42% in 2019 to get 6%. Ganjo's case is good riddance to bad rubbish. We're happy that he's gone because it was a problem for us. He divided the party, caused confusion. He fought everybody. That's why he was alone in his election. Nobody supported him. And so he chose his own deputy. Everything Bodejo told him he didn't do. They said, consider Vivor to be your deputy. He refused. So all sorts of things. So we are happy he's gone.
Okay.
Because he's gone, we are more united than before. Because now we realize that never again will anybody just come in without proper checks. We're going to check them out properly. So Duarte coming in, he came in, don't forget he's been here for almost a year now, he's been in the party. So he's giving himself time to understand the party for people to know him. He's not the only one going to run. He's just one of the aspirants.
Okay.
Let's see what happens.
All right, Dr. Adetokunbo Pearse, thank you so much for your inputs on this conversation. It's been absolutely insightful, and we appreciate you being here.